So today guys, I wanted to start a new type of video, a series of videos talking about what is left to be added to a certain tech tree. I already did similar-ish stuff in the past, but I really wanted to point out in a general sense what are the things that you should expect that are left to be added in some tech tree, air or ground. We're gonna start with air, of course. In this case for the USA, right? So for example, we just had the F-18, right? So what is left to be added? So we start off listing basically some vehicles. We start off with the F-18 Super Hornet, right? The E or the F, I would imagine that it's gonna be the E. It's probably going to be added in a soonish kind of future. I don't think it's gonna be in the next update, but it will come probably during this year or something like that. Of course, this is the whole redesign of the Legacy Hornet. He introduces many new features. The main things is that the aircraft is a larger one. It has larger wing area. It has basically stronger engines. Initially had the same radar as the C-Late, but later it got upgraded to an ESA radar, which is probably what we are going to receive, right? Of course, upgraded missiles. Of course, I mean, it could still take the AIM-9M, the AIM-120Bs and stuff, but probably we would see the AIM-9X being added, the AIM-120Cs and Ds in the future. And in a general sense, of course, the aircraft has a lot of features that are designed to make the aircraft a little bit more stealthy than a normal aircraft, right? So the intake, the paint, everything is a little bit to make the aircraft a little bit more stealthy. It's not a stealth aircraft by any means, but it's stealthier than a normal 4th generation jet, right? And it is the next step up that we would probably see in that tech tree. So after the F-18C late, you can expect for us to have the F-18E or the F, but probably the E, right? The second aircraft is another Navy aircraft, the F-14D, the Super Tomcat. Of course, we have to talk about this. This is a later iteration of the Tomcat, the last one, of course, and the main thing here is that it is pretty much the same aircraft as the B model, right? But, of course, having a new radar. This new radar would introduce new weapons as well, probably for the in-game purpose, right? So, of course, I would imagine that it would receive something like an AIM-9M on the very least, hopefully, right? It would receive maybe the AIM-120. I mean, it was tested with it, so I would imagine that Gaijin would add with it, but we need to wait and see, because I don't know exactly where this thing is gonna come. You know, it could be a tech tree vehicle, but it could also be kind of a premium or event vehicle. Premium, maybe not, because we have the F-18C early, right? But it could be like an event vehicle, just like the Iranian F-14. And then receive the AIM-120 to be like a kind of a test aircraft, right? But I don't know. I honestly don't know. Squadron, event, premium, tech tree. I don't know where this thing would come, but it will come, and it will probably be a very, very good F-14. Probably a higher BR than the F-14B, of course. You know, I hope on the very least. So it is an interesting aircraft. Of course, the fly model itself, it is the same. What changes is the radar mainly, right? And some other little systems, but yeah, the radar is very different. Uses the same technology from the F-18E, sorry, on the radar, so it's a much improved radar. Not ESA or anything like that, but it's still pretty amazing for a normal mechanically scanned array radar, okay? Then of course we need to talk about the variants of aircraft that are already in the game. So the F-15E, the F-15C, and the F-16C, I would imagine that they would receive new variants with better radars and better missiles in the future, right? I don't know exactly how they're going to be adding this, if they're just going to jump straight to the other aircraft that we're going to talk about. But I would imagine that we would see, because all the three aircraft can receive ESA radars, right? All of them could be a little bit better. And of course, what I mean about having an ESA radar, it doesn't mean that it's only that, right? For example, the F-15E would be the older one, the one that we have in the game, but it got the new engine, right? So it is already an upgraded F-15E. So the main difference would be the radar, but of course, in you know, a real addition for the game, it would mean new missiles, it would mean new weapons, right? So maybe the AIM-9X when it's added, the AIM-120Cs and these that we're talking about, the F-15C of course, with a new radar as well, having new weapons as well, AIM-9Xs, AIM-9Ds, AIM-120Ds, AIM-120Cs, you know, something like that. The F-16C as well. Multiple variants that can be added, exported ones or not, maybe an upgrade internally, domestically by just an EASA radar for the F-16 that we have. Stuff like that will probably be added so that we can have kind of a bridge that can close the gap between what we have in the tech tree right now and what will be the top tier when the 5th generation start to roll out, right? I honestly believe that we will see this, just like we had the Su-27 SM being added, right? So just the same aircraft, but having maybe slightly different engines, maybe slightly different radars, stuff like that. Probably just the radar, to be honest. But in a general sense, these 3 aircraft, the F-15E, C, and the F-16C, will probably all receive EASA radars and new weapons when the time comes. Before we get into the 5th generations. So the 5th generations, what is left to be added for the US? Well, we have 4 aircraft here that can be added. I'm not including, of course, the F-47 because, come on, the F-47 will take a while to be added into service. When it's added into service, then we can start to talk about it, but it's going to take years. But I wouldn't doubt that we will see that aircraft eventually in War Thunder, but not for now, for a very long time, okay? So, of course, F-22 probably will be the first 5th generation to be added, and probably in the first iterations that it was added. So, yeah, 2000s technology, right? Improved missiles from what we have in the game right now. The main thing would be even like the M120C5, right? So yeah, for sure, stealth. Obviously, it has thrust vectoring, it has an EASA radar, it has an amazing performance. Probably will be added below the F-15C line, I would imagine, right? So yeah, for sure the F-22 is going to be added at some certain point. We even had a leak talking about it, right? So yeah, for sure. And of course, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th 5th generation jets that we are going to receive in the US and probably will be the last aircraft to be added for a while. And it's going to take a while for these aircraft to be added. It would be, of course, the F-35s, right? The new generation of 5th generation jets. We have 3 variants, of course, the A, B, and C model. The A would be the best one in a general sense, but the B and C are pretty good as well. It's just that they would, for example, not have an internal gun. They would have to have a gun pod. They are all stealth. They all use an EASA radar. The missile base, they're, you know, similar-ish. And of course, in a general sense, the A is the one that has the most performance, right? The most amount of power, the most amount of max speed, the most amount of turn, everything with that. Of course, remember, the A is the normal one, the Air Force one, right? The B would be the VTOL one, of course. And the C model is the Navy one with the arrestor gear and everything that it needs to land on a carrier, right? So, in a general sense, they would all be very similar, but the A would be the best one. So, of course, other nations would receive these aircraft as well, but in a general sense, probably the F-35 will be added first for the US, or at least together with other nations, right? I don't need to talk about too much about this aircraft. I mean, we are very far from it, but yeah, stealth, pretty good performance, EASA radar, you know, the most modern aircraft in the US arsenal, so it will probably be the last to be added out of all these lists, okay? And basically that's it, guys. I know it's not a lot. We are reaching kind of an end game to the additions of top tier jets, right? Which can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. I don't know yet. I honestly have I don't have ideas of what they're gonna to do when they reach this. So yeah, let's wait and see. More sub trees, more, I don't know. But yeah, basically these are what you should expect from these aircraft, from this nation, right? I will do more videos like these for other nations as well, so keep an eye out. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and leave a comment if I missed any aircraft. Of course, there would be more aircraft being added in the mid tiers, higher tiers, lower tiers. I'm just talking about top tier going forward, right? But anyway, Let me know in the comments if I forgot any, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys. See you.